Every business that I've built or been a part of eventually hits the same wall. First it gets a little busy, then it gets chaotic, and then things start to break. And I found usually it's not because the business idea is bad. Most business ideas are typically pretty good. What ends up being the issue is the operations can't keep up. I've lived it, I've fixed it, and today I wanted to talk about some of the actual things that I did and put in place that help these businesses. At first, things are simple. I take every call, I do every job, I make all the decisions. But with every business that I was involved with, once I reach a certain level of growth, I found I was usually spending most of my time putting out fires more so than growing the business. And that's where the cracks started to show. For me, the big red flag was starting to become pretty apparent. It was either me as an owner or the owner themselves always seemed to be the ones that needed to solve every problem that came up. Be it scheduling, owner need to fix it. Material mix-up, owner fix it. Crew dilemmas, owner need to fix it. So anytime the owner was not directly involved, things would stall. And that wasn't a business, that really was just a burnout machine. I used to think I had a people problem or a motivation problem. What I had was a systems problem. I didn't have anything in place for people to be able to succeed without me being directly involved. And I saw it later with other owners, they were having the same problem, is without them directly involved, people were not able to succeed. I needed that shift, and I started to shift. I didn't overhaul everything at once. That would have been a nightmare. I started off simple, and I started off with the thing that was really screaming at me the loudest, and that was project progress. So I needed some way to track where we were at with jobs or with service calls. I needed something. So I went completely old school, and I started with just a chalkboard. I would start writing down all the projects or the tickets that we had going, and I would write it out just so everyone knew what was active and where the primary focus should be. Next, once everyone was aware of the work that was current or needed to be done, I sat down and I started working through each step. What was the standard operating procedures that I could apply to everything? And if I stepped away, if I was sick, if I was out, would someone else be able to follow these systems, follow this procedure, and take it from needs to be done all the way to completed? Next, the biggest breakdowns that I faced was in communication. I was realizing there may have been a central place for understanding what projects were going on, but there was no clear communication going on for all that information. And I found that where there's multiple people involved with the same information and they need access to that same information, there has to be a way to be able to track where it is in its progression rather than, hey, we got a job, is the job done? Did we get an order? Was that order sent out? Hey, there's a repair request. Did it get repaired? It goes on and on for any kind of business. There needed to be some sort of flow chart or some sort of way to track all this. So I ended up using systems like Trello or even project management programs that would help track all the way from when a job was started, material handling, when things were done being built, all the way through. So I had to start implementing systems that incorporate communication to allow constant feedback, I guess is what you'd call communication, but constant feedback between multiple people so they had the information they needed to know where are we at in the process of the start to the finish. And that seemed to really start help clearing up things, and a lot less things were dropped and a lot of things were starting to get more efficient. Once systems were in place for tracking how we were doing in the project or during the process, then I really needed to notice, it's like, well, that seems like it's optimized. Is there something else I can do, or what else do I need to get involved with to be able to make this even more efficient? I'm always looking for ways to optimize, and that was in tracking man hours, tracking how long it took to do things, and keeping people on task. And once I started that, I started to see where more of the breakdown was, and it went backwards into the other systems that I have built. Was where are we losing time? Where is there miscommunication? Where there's either rework or downtime with someone not knowing what they need to do, or not having a clear goal of, hey, this is where we need to reach by the end of the day. So tracking hours and project progress was really starting to become beneficial, and it backfed into the systems I'd built up to this point. The hardest step that I had to overcome, and I think this is the same for most owners and business operators, is that if you have people working for you, is learning to let go. And that is the key to it all, is we get wrapped up in making ourselves the bottleneck so that we feel important, like without us, everything would fall apart. But you've got to be willing to let go of that, let go of ego, and really want scale and want growth in your business, because you have to be able to let go and let other people do their job. And to do that, that involves having to train people, teach people, be directly involved with their day-to-day until they can take over portions of what you are doing. You slowly start handing out the hats that you wear, because as an owner, you wear all the hats when you first start out. And you start needing to passing those hats out and trusting people. So you have to build a system for training and education so that they can take over that system you built for them. They can follow the system and they can be pumping out the same results that you would, rather than thinking you're the only one that can do the job and you're the only one that can do it right, because that is the fastest way to, again, just continue to make a burnout machine, and you're going to burn out and things are going to fall apart. Scaling is the key. And if you want to scale, you got to find ways to make your business sustainable. And the main reason why you need these systems, you need to be able to train, you need to be able to step away, is because you have to start going from being a 1-foot view, having your hands on the tools, or being the one doing the work, being the one making the calls. You have to be able to step back and start seeing, what are the results? What's the end result? Are we improving on how fast we complete things? Are we improving on how well we've done a job? Is there any downtime? The end result, if it's improving, is much better, because people can work hard. You can have hardworking individuals in your company, but it does not mean anything if you aren't tracking the actual result and the results are not becoming better and better. That's where you need to be able to get to with your systems, is so you can step back and start looking at that and figuring out and make sure that the result is better than just people looking busy. Because there's no reason getting pride all wrapped up in, oh, this is how hard I work. Well, you can work very hard and be inefficient. You can do the same job in a quarter of the time if you have the right systems and the right education in place and you're tracking it. And that's the big trick. That's what I'm trying to help anyone that is interested in doing. I want to help kind of shift your mindset, is throwing more hours and working harder at something is not going to make your business better. You have to get more efficient, not work harder. I know there's a big, kind of a mindset around, oh, you got to grind, you got to work hard. And absolutely, there's a lot of things that you got to do that is very difficult or outside your comfort zone. But that does not mean you have to continue to beat your head against the wall when there's something that can minimize your stress, it can minimize your time input, and it can make more efficient time spent in doing other things, because growth and scale will mean there are more things to take on, new things to do, new things to learn for yourself. So you're going to hit your capacity if you think you can just keep throwing hours, because you have limited time. So rather than trying to throw more hours at it, I want you to start thinking, how can I spend less time doing the same thing at the same quality? And that is where you're going to start unlocking scalability. And the last thing I really want to talk about in this short little video here is that operations is not a one and done thing. Systems is not a one and done thing. It takes a tremendous amount of work up front to design it, to make the systems, to see what you can optimize or tweak. And once they're in place, then they should be operating pretty well. But you're going to need to continue to focus on putting a little bit of time every month. I do monthly check-ins on my systems to see, okay, with the information I have, is there anywhere I can improve this system? Is there anything that this system is lacking or missing? And what can I do to improve it? And if I do or can, I will. If not, it's a simple check-in and it's good. You need to just continue to do your check-ins, because eventually there will come a time where your system becomes outdated. Don't ever think that your system is a one and done, because that's how you will bottleneck yourself again, is getting caught up in old, archaic systems that may have worked for you in the beginning, but they're not going to work for you as you continue to scale. So to wrap things up, if you feel like your business is right on the edge of falling apart, I've been there. I came through blue collar background, welder, pipe fitter by trade. So that was my mindset when I first started out, starting a business, and then later on helping other businesses and getting involved with their operations, was that mindset of hustling, that real hustle. And over the past 7 years, I've learned that hustling isn't the end all. you have to start building smarter. So if any of this was helpful to you, or you're interested in continue on this journey with me as we talk about other ways to optimize and different ways to look at your business, if you're trying to break out, just leave a comment below, subscribe, like, do all the things. I would appreciate it. But get involved. I would love to hear from you what some struggles you're going through, and or what are some things that you learned along your journey, because that's the number one way we can all learn, is we all have different experiences. And out of those experiences, we can all learn from each other, because I can only live and experience one life. There might be a different business that you're involved with that I haven't had the pleasure of being involved with, and you learn something that I can take from that and be able to help apply it to my businesses and my operations. It would be phenomenal. So let's start that conversation, but make sure you subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see where this thing goes.